talking about books, you have your own book, if I'm not mistaken,
I
called
do.
Swimming Upstream to Realize the Dream.
That book tells a little bit about my story, about the things I've had to overcome. Because that's how I ran into y'all. That's how I got in her book. It's called a memoir or something like that.
And that no matter what you're going through, there's always a way forward. You never
Yeah.
have to settle.
I stay sometimes at different residences or whatever. Homelessness takes different forms, and I shouldn't have to live like that when I don't put in this kind of work.
Yeah,
and I am so grateful that I never took my life. But when you look at the totality of what I've done on the internet, you can kind of understand why I felt like that. I want to be with people that can actually get something physical and get it going in the real world. Does that make sense? And I think that's something that folks can learn, that even if you're throwing darts in the wind, eventually if you ask for help, those things will also come into focus. And I think that's what I'm finding, because I'm continuing to ask for help and not stopping.
I just want to rebuild my life and rebuild my name. So hopefully this makes sense to you, and hopefully this does well. God bless everybody. Y'all be blessed.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today we have the extraordinary honor of sitting down with someone whose courage, strength, and spirit have inspired people all around the world. Ashton Smith is a 4-time Special Olympics gold medalist in swimming. Beyond the medals and victories, Ashton is a powerful voice for perseverance, compassion, and justice. She's faced challenges most of us can't even imagine. Yet through it all, she has never stopped fighting, never stopped caring, and she's never stopped believing in her net worth. Today, Ashton is reclaiming her name, her story, and her future. And we at the Relief Alliance are proud to stand beside her. This is more than an interview today. This is a moment of truth, of healing, and of hope. Ashton, thank you for being here. We're honored to share your story with the world. Can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what your childhood was like?
Yes, I grew up in Ellis County, south of Dallas, and in Waxahachie. So, my grandmother raised me. My mother was, in and out of my life for various reasons. She was young too, so for various reasons. But my grandma and grandpa raised me, other people in my family. So it's just everybody in my family kind of helped raise everybody, kind of like a village. So that's kind of how that was. I also had mentors in my life. They came into my life and encouraged me about swimming. The YMCA came into my life as well and encouraged me about how and why swimming is important. These things are important. And I realized without my grandmother giving me the ability of saying yes, meaning she said yes for me to be able to do these things with the YMCA. The YMCA actually taught me how to swim. The Special Olympics did not. And I went to day camps at the YMCA, and so that's really how I honed my skills, if that makes sense. And so
yeah,
if it wasn't for, my grandmother and other people, I probably wouldn't be in sports, because they also encouraged me, and mentors in my life, and teachers. Miss Ora Jackson encouraged me, told me I could do anything that I wanted to do. So, and I miss those people. Even my mom is no longer here. I miss them as well, and my grandmother. So it's been really hard on this earth without help. But now I know that people are coming into my life to help me. And, there are folks who want to mentor me and work with me and say, okay, this is what you've been through. I also grew up with a disability as well. I'm visually impaired in one eye, though I can drive a car and all that. I do what I want to do. I don't let people tell me I can't do those things. I just do it. And I find that I have to live every day proving what I can do, whereas a lot of people don't have to prove themselves because they don't have a disability. Every day I have to prove myself, and it's like, it can be difficult, but it can also show people that you can.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. Yeah. It's great that you have support. It's so important to have role models that influence the direction where you head just by giving you encouragement. That's amazing. So what motivated you to get into competitive sports? I know you mentioned a little bit about the YMCA. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Just seeing other people out there do various competitive sports. I played basketball, track and field. I did all kinds of sports, and I still, even at my age, want to play sports. again. But I saw other people at the YMCA swimming. I didn't see very many black people in a pool, that's for sure. But I figured swimming would be fun, and it was something I took on. And I also realized that it's life-saving. I also realized that our state leads the nation in drowning. I said stuff like that on ESPN. But for the YMCA, they also talked about statistics and stuff. And so I thought swimming would be something for me to do. And it's not only something fun, it's something you can do for the rest of your life. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And without the YMCA encouraging me and others, it would be difficult. But I do know that, I use these skills to show people that you can do things. And I competed in high school in swimming against regular people. So that also goes to show that I know I'm capable of competing against regular athletes and putting in the actual physical work. And I put in a lot of work to be a swimmer. A lot of work.
Yeah.
Talking about getting up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. I mean, talking about role models, you are a role model to so many disabled people around the world looking to
absolutely
do more. You show them that they can. You've proved it. So it's just amazing. Did you have any role models growing up, especially like other athletes with disabilities?
I didn't really have any role models really in the Special Olympics, but I had role models outside of it. Miss Ora Jackson was a role model. My grandmother was a role model. Even my own mom telling me to continue to pursue sports. Even people in my family, my brothers told me to continue to pursue sports and don't quit. Disability, what is it called? Divas with Disabilities. That lady featured me in her article. She's been a role model. She is the one that's getting paid as a speaker. And I want to be where she's at. Even she told me you shouldn't be out here working for free. And so those are things in my life that I know that my skills can turn over to lead people to be able to do a career that they want to do, whether it's sports like me, public speaking, or whatever. I know that I can deliver goods in a career with public speaking, especially because public speaking is something I can do a lot longer than sports.
It's amazing. So you've won 4 gold medals. What moment out of that stands out to you the most?
Going to Dubai and having to pay my way there and looking at the cost. You don't get paid in the Special Olympics. You're not allowed to be paid.
Yeah.
It is designed so that you are never paid. And I'm in and I'm always told people, I hope the government shuts Special Olympics down because they use people for profit and then tell the public that they care and love us, and they don't, and allow for crimes to happen to us in that program. And I just know for me, I just want to overcome that regardless of what's happened to me and tell society,
right,
I'm ready to be hired. I'm able to work. That past is my past. I can't do anything about it except for whatever y'all look up about me. That's in the past. All I can tell society is I'm ready to get to work. I'm ready to be me and offer the skills that I have for TV, radio, and public speaking. I have 25 years of public speaking, and I've been on TV, ESPN, NBC5, the Dallas Morning News, Dallas Observer. These are all things I've been in. But financially, that has not produced, and that cannot be. Not when you're putting in hours on end every day. Other things pay me, but the Special Olympics and the work that I have put in with that has not. So
sorry you went through that. Yeah.
Me too.
No, it's just amazing hearing your story. This is so. What does swimming? So swimming is a big deal for you, and seems to have been for a while. What does swimming mean to you personally? Not just as a sport, but as part of your life. Whether it's for you helping other people, what does it mean to you?
I mean, what it means to me is that it's hard to do. Swimming's not easy to do. People think, it's not like football where you can be a walk-on. I've never heard of a walk-on swimmer. They don't have walk-on swimmers for a reason. They don't, unless you've done it in another school or some other means, but they don't generally have walk-on swimmers. But yeah, it means a lot to me because I don't want to be a drowning statistic. This sign is from the Pool and Spa Association, which they deal with drowning and those kinds of things. And I want to be just like I said on ESPN to hopefully teach people. At first, I thought about doing swim lessons, but when you don't have the money to rent a pool for $5,000. Like, this is Dallas Fort Worth. I don't know what people are thinking, but to rent a pool is very expensive because you have to sign liability agreements, all kinds of other things that people don't think about. And yeah, so I had to give up on my dreams of doing that because I'm not paying $5,000 to $10,000 to rent a pool. You know,
Hopefully
and
they
it means a
will be
lot to
fine.
me, and I wanted to do that. So, and those are things I had to give up, and found that public speaking could do a lot better in my life. But yeah, swimming is something that can save your life. That's a big part. That's what it means for me, is that I have something that's a life-saving skill. That's what that means.
Understood. And what about what you'd like to achieve when you do take control of your name, your image, and your future? I know we talked a little bit about how you want to
What
be
I would
a
like to
role
achieve,
model to the disabled community.
have to be able to speak in schools and colleges and those things. That is what I want to do. And nobody is here to help me fill out the paperwork so I can start speaking.
Yeah.
I don't have
how,
anybody like a management or booking agent. They won't help me here.
yeah. So how do you want
Texas. I
people
can
to
speak for other
see
states.
you now? Like, how do you want people to see you now as a person, not just an athlete, but as a person? Like, if they're going to take anything today, yeah.
Yeah, for me, what I want people to see me as is somebody who's capable of doing public speaking, somebody who's capable of doing TV and radio work, because I did it all for the Special Olympics. I was featured on ESPN and other things. Broadway Baptist Church. It means a lot to me because I can be compassionate to people who are poor, because I've been homeless before on the streets. And so I go and tell people how they can get off the streets. So now if we added another layer where I had a charity, now I can tell people this is how you make it. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole different ball game. So that's what I want to do, is let people know that they can make something of themselves. And that's my goal every Thursday I speak. I'm in the lady's book, her book. I'm actually in there, the lady that was on the call, that she has a book that I'm featured in. And I forgot what they call those, where you're featured in someone's book. But I've, she even knows that I've done everything I could to get my story out there. You know what I mean? Even being featured in someone's book's a big deal.
Oh,
That's
talking about books, you have your own book, if I'm not mistaken, called Swimming Upstream to Realize the Dream. Tell us a little bit about that.
That book tells a little bit about my story, about the things I've had to overcome, some of the rules and how you cannot make money in the Special Olympics, that it's not designed for you to make money because they keep saying that they're a private charity or something like that. And so it talks about my struggles of what I've had to overcome, homelessness. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to go from place to place to place or have to contemplate sleeping outside, right? Or things like that. Or staying, like in my case, I stayed sometimes at different residences or whatever. Homelessness takes different forms, and I shouldn't have to live like that when I don't put in this kind of work. And I am so grateful that I never took my life. But when you look at the totality of what I've done on the internet, you can kind of understand why I felt like that. But I think now, this year, now that I have people coming in like yourself and others, I don't feel like that no more. I feel like there is hope, resiliency, and I don't have to do this stuff alone, because I can't do 14 different things a day. I have to provide for myself in the real world, and that mindset stuff, it doesn't work in Texas. I'm just going to keep it real. It's fine, but the word of the day is implementation. And if you can't implement anything, nobody wants to talk to you out here.
Yeah.
And I was told that by an 80-year-old man. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, is there a chapter is there a chapter or a passage in Swimming Upstream to Realize the Dream that you feel captures the heart of your story? And would you be willing to share it with us or talk about it a little bit?
This one, understanding your uniqueness, personalizing your promise. So all of these things. So the one about understanding your uniqueness, that's the big one. And these are the big things that I help have people to understand. So if they can see that, they'll be able to zoom in on this later and be able to understand that this is things that they can take into real life and do. And these are real things that I live by. And that's why I put them on the back of a book, because it's not just one verse in this book. It's everything that I try and live by and try and be focused and say, these are the goals, or this is what I want to do. And so that helps me to never forget what I'm trying to do in my life and what I'm trying to achieve. This is kind of like my vision board. Think of this as like a vision board. That's what this is.
That's amazing.
Isn't that unique?
That's
So
very
everything in totality is what you're trying to achieve. And I think for me, I'm trying to achieve a lot. I'm trying to overcome a lot. And the biggest thing for me is just get people in my life not trying to scam me. Because when people see a book, they want to try to, let me see if I can own the rights to it. And then before you know it, somebody done took your book and your story, so I have to be careful with stuff like that too.
Yeah, and that
So,
makes sense. So what do you hope readers, like especially young people or those with disabilities, take away from your book?
what they can take away from my book is that your disability, or even those who aren't disabled, your living situation, your environment, whatever, is not a dictator of how your life's going to turn out, or even your age, right? You're never it's never too late to learn, and I'm finding that out too. It's never too late to ask for help. That's what folks can learn. I'm going to be 40 next year, and it's never too late to learn for help, and learn to ask for help. And be able to implement what people give you. And you want to be able to go with people that are going to give you the right things to implement, and not just have you throwing darts at the wind. I want to be with people that can actually get something physical and get it going in the real world. Does that make sense? And I think that's something that folks can learn, that even if you're throwing darts in the wind, eventually if you ask for help, those things will also come into focus. And I think that's what I'm finding, because I'm continuing to ask for help and not stopping. Because that's how I ran into y'all. That's how I got in her book. It's called a memoir or something like that. You asked for help, and she put my story in a book, and she's going to send me a hard copy. So I got to send her my address.
Oh,
and that's
amazing.
something nobody can take from me. I think
That's right.
being and having your own book, that's a start, because it's showing you are an expert in that area. Once you write a book, now you can have me as an expert in swimming and teaching people in this sport, especially Black people, right? How to overcome their disabilities, or what they're facing, or what they're going through. That's the reason that I wrote this book, because I want people to know that whatever's thrown in their lives, that they can overcome that. And even, for me, Texas state law gives me the right to make money off my image. Now that the law was in effect, I can now go out here and make money. So that's another thing that I feel like this is an appropriate time for me to get my name out there, because the law says I can now. So
yeah,
the law.
I love that message. I love how you responded to that. It's okay to ask for help, and that no matter what you're going through, there's always a way forward. You never have to settle. So you live so much more life since writing that book. If you were to write a sequel today, what would you call it?
Wow. If I would write a sequel today, the goals I have achieved, and more, because the goals that I have achieved, right, that puts me in the present day, and more, you know what I'm saying, and more, question mark, or something like that, a big question mark at the end of that. Right. That's important, because there is more to achieve, or achieving more today for tomorrow's future, or something like that, right? So those are titles, right? So, but the thing is, it's getting all of that stuff into a book, and people who are willing to do that. And a lot of times people aren't willing to write a second book. The person that helped me put my book together, this is the publishing company, but they really haven't been too helpful in helping me promote my book. I'm grateful for it, don't get me wrong, but as far as them helping me promote it, I haven't gotten help in promoting my book. Everything I've done is on my own.
Understood. Yeah, I mean, being a 4-time gold medalist in the Special Olympics, I mean, what changes would you like to see in how athletes with disabilities are treated?
That they get paid a decent wage, or get paid decently for what they do, especially first, second, and third place, just like the real Olympics and Paralympics, they get paid. But the fake Special Olympics, you get nothing, and I call it the fake Special Olympics.
So now that you've been connected with the Relief Alliance, what are you hoping to accomplish by working with the Relief Alliance?
The biggest thing is getting the charity and doing the things that you are solid at, knowing that this is going to be faster than a 6-week course. I think when this stuff is more organized, because nothing wrong with taking a 6-week course, but they may be helping 11 other people, right? The lady was honest that I'm not the only one that they're helping. So I think for me is just being able to get everything narrowed down, because if we can get this stuff buttoned up, this is, if this is something with ChatGTP and all these other things. My friends set up their charity within 3 days. 3 days.
Yeah,
3
we
days.
will absolutely help you do that. I think it would be great for you if you were to open a nonprofit. I'd love to talk a little bit more about that, as you know, after the interview, of course. But that would be a great thing to do.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So Ashton, I got to say, I thank you so much for your courage, your honesty, and your light. Yeah. You've reminded us today that no matter what challenges we face, our voice matters, our story matters, and our worth is never defined by what others try to take from us, but how we rise, how we love, and how we lead. So at the Relief Alliance, we're proud to walk with you as you reclaim always been yours, your name, your image, and your legacy. And to everyone watching, let Ashton's journey remind you that it's never too late to speak up, to stand tall, and to rise again. If you've been moved by Ashton's story, we invite you to follow her journey, share her message, and support the path forward. Because when one of us rises, we all rise. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay hopeful.
And tell your audience they can Google my story, Google Ashton Smith Special Olympics, or they can look up Ashton Smith Mad Pop Records and find, the website about me. I am so grateful for that woman using her platform as well to put me on her website. You folks can also find me on Instagram and Facebook under Golden Ashton, or again, Google Ashton Smith Special Olympics to find out more about my story. If you want to hire me or do other things like that, I'm a 4-time gold medalist, public speaker. I've done TV and radio work. I am so excited.
I just want to rebuild my life and rebuild my name. So hopefully this makes sense to you, and hopefully this does well. God bless everybody. Y'all be blessed.
God bless everybody. I'm grateful to be a part of this disclaimer. For me, everything that I've said here is for me and not written by a station or anyone else. Everything that I have explained here today is only for me, not on behalf of the Special Olympics or etc. At the end of the day, the stuff that I have said here is my thoughts and my thoughts only. That is a part of this disclaimer. Thank you to your audience and people. I appreciate everything.